Alrighty then, welcome back to Death by Dragons. Today is a very special battle report as I welcome onto the channel a guest. My opponent for this battle, in fact, Mr. Matt G. Matt, welcome to the channel.
Hello.
Hello. So before we begin, Matt, why don't you give us a little intro to yourself, your wargaming history, and kind of how you got into Kings of War?
Sure, yeah. So I stumbled back into wargaming after being out of the scene for quite so many years by randomly buying some pikemen off a man at a train station who prompted me to say that they should check out this new game that they'd started playing called Kings of War. And I popped down to the local club. I'd never been to a wargaming club before. And promptly my opponent didn't turn up, but the stand-in was Mr. Daniel Reed.
Right.
That was about 18 months ago, and from then on, that was me hooked back into wargaming again after about a 15-year break.
Awesome. So the idea of getting you on is that I am clearly really new to Kings of War, so it tends to be like my analysis isn't very in depth. It tends to be I don't know anything. So getting someone with a bit more experience on, I think it's a good thing to do because it gives us a chance to kind of chat through kind of the strategy and what we were thinking. So
you're presuming I had a strategy.
Yeah. See, I'm used to this from you. You see, you always have a strategy. You usually have a couple of strategies. It's quite irritating. So I should explain that Matt's pretty much my most frequent opponent. We play most days via Universal Battle, every day pretty much at the moment. But it's giving us some really good practice, so it's very welcome. So on with the battle report. So this was a 1700 point battle. My Dwarfs versus Matt's Trident Realm. Now 1700, it's not seen too often, right, Matt? But this was in prep for a specific tournament. Was that right?
This was messing around for a list for the Jack of Hearts tournament that was the other weekend. The
other weekend, where you in fact placed third, which is pretty impressive.
It's all right, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. Although apparently you should have been second, right?
I wouldn't say that. I lost out on a three-way tie. Curses.
Oof. So this wasn't the first time I'd run Dwarfs against Matt, but the first battle had some significant list problems and was a bit of a wipeout. So I don't think it made too interesting a report really. So, but this was the rematch. So anyway, Dwarfs versus Trident Realm. Let's take a look at the lists. So go through my Dwarfs first. So I had a horde of Ironclad, 2 regiments of Rangers, and 1 Haeneas the Hunter, forming Haeneas' hunting party formation, which gives the Rangers elite, although not Haeneas elite, which is quite irritating. 2 hordes of Brock Riders, 1 with a brew of sharpness, 1 with a brew of haste. A Dwarven King with the wings of the Honey Maze, fly and speed 10. A Stone Priest with Bane Charm and Alchemist Curse, Alchemist Curse 10. Oh, that's it. Hang on. That's my list. So pretty small list for 1700 points, but I was quite happy with it. I think possibly the only thing I think about is that in terms of the horde of Ironclad is quite unmanoeuvrable, possibly going down to regiments. But so that's my list. Any thoughts on that, Matt? Any kind of feedback?
I don't think it's dropping down to horde is necessarily a good idea because I think it's a nice big block of nerf to chew through. I think it's a pretty standard list there with the Brock Riders. I guess the only thing that's missing that tends to be popular is some kind of war machine, but it's kind of hard to squeeze in I think at 1700, and I think with the Rangers formation that tends to be a fair amount of shooting that you can lay down anyway, so I'm used to Mr. Reed running a similar list to this. So I think it works pretty well.
Yeah, I think one of the nice things about lower point lists is it really makes you think about what you're taking. You can't just kind of take all the toys.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so onto your Trident Realm list. So 1700 points of Trident Realm. So there's 2 hordes of Gigas, 1 with the Healing Brew, and 1 with the Orcish Skullpole. A regiment of Hidden Ones, a regiment of Fool with the Hammered of Measured Force, a Tidal Swarm, 1 Ector the Bastard, 2 Naiad Envoys. Is that right? 1 Naiad Envoy.
I think 1.
I think that's a mistake on my slide. Apologies. 1 Naiad Envoy. He has Aura of Heroism, the Banner of the Griffin, and the Teleport spell. And 1 Siren. I think that's the whole list. Oh, and a Coral Giant.
And a Coral Giant looking
and
around.
2 Knuckers.
And 2 Knuckers.
Jesus, you can get a lot for 1700. So what's your kind of rationale behind this list? What's your key?
So 2 big blocks of nerve for the Gigas. 2 big blocks of Thule with lots of berserker attacks to take on hordes, Tidal Swarm for a bit of chaff, Coral Giant for a bit of chaff as well, and because we don't get any access to any mounted individuals or flyers, it needs something to threat flanks and generally get in the way and mess things around, and that's what the pair of knuckers are for. Ector, Siren and the Envoy are there to provide supporting roles, but also try to just mess things up and generally be annoying and get in the way. And the good thing about them is that they tend to not be a one-trick pony. So if the Siren's not casting something, she's still inspiring, and if Ector's not wind blasting something, he can still chomp things up in combat.
Yeah, I would say, I think having faced this list or similar list to this from yourself a number of times, the combination of the knuckers, because they're nimble, nimble speed 9, and then the Ector, Siren, teleporting Envoy, it's very hard to deal with. You have to be extraordinarily careful because there's nothing more unpleasant than a defense 6 hero chucked around the back of your force or in front of your force. And normally I run elves, and having a Siren who can just basically turn off either your shooting or your flying is very disconcerting, I've got to say. So yeah, really solid list. So this was the battlefield, so it's a pretty standard epic dwarf battlefield. I think there's a lot really to say about this. It's everything 2. We played height 6 for us, I think, for this one.
I think we did, yeah. Bit of US meta there.
Yeah, a little way. Yeah, we like to entertain the Americans. 2 height 2 hills, 2 height 4 blocking terrains, a bit of flat and a bit of height 0, and 2 height 1 walls. So there's no hills in deployment zones. It's pretty, I think there's nothing very exciting on this battlefield, frankly. So the scenario was control. So for those who can't remember, this is the one where you split it into 6 portions, and it is 2 points for the middle section of your opponent's side, 1 point for any other section, and 1 point for your own side, middle. And then one with the most unit strength in each of them gets the points at the end.
Yeah, I think it's interesting at 1700 because you haven't quite got enough units to spread absolutely everywhere. You've got to protect the unit strength you have got and still have enough to claim those sectors at the end.
Yeah, my biggest worries here was you've got some really fast units. Obviously, I'm dwarf, so we're not known for being particularly speedy. Whereas you've got speed 9 nimble guys who can just go out the double 18 on the last turn and claim them. So yeah, I think
providing they're still alive.
Yeah, indeed. So this was our deployment. Now, as usual, I have cocked up the screenshots. So this was actually after vanguarding, but I'll go through how the deployment went, and then we can talk about it. So the Rangers started here. You can see they're actually already vanguarded in this screenshot, and Haneas was behind them. There's my horde of Iron Guard. Hang on a minute. They weren't in the army list that I put up. Did I miss them off? I must have done. How do you... fuck me. What is the point in even being alive? Wow. Yeah, there is a horde of Earth Elementals, which hasn't shown up on that list. It's quite important, really. So it is Brox, Rox, and Glocks. So anyway, sorry about that. A horde of Earth Elementals. Surprise! That's the Stone Priest. There's the 2 Brock Riders, and there is the King. So my deployment is pretty standard, really. I wanted to put the Rangers somewhere they could shelter and shoot stuff, supported by the Iron Guard, and I want the Brock Riders down the flank along with the King. There's not a lot more to say about that, really, is there?
No, I think the King doesn't seem to come in any list without the wings these days.
He's just pointless without them, frankly. He's the only fast hero we can have. Yeah. There is that defense 6 hero, but he's speed 4 and you can't put wings on him because he's a living legend. So yeah, it's wings. The other thing you could run is the Berserker Lord on Brock. Yep,
seen him quite a few times.
Yeah,
with a Beast Slayer sword or something.
Exactly. So that's the alternative, I think. So you have your 2 Gigas down the left, supported by the Coral Giant. There is the Siren hiding behind the Gigas. There's your hidden ones. There's your Thule. There's the Tidal. Did I put the Tidal? Have I really messed up these lists?
No, that's right. Tidal Swarm.
Was it there? Tidal Swarm.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got your Tidal Swarm. there's the two knuckers, one either side, and you've got the Ector and the Envoy between. I think Ector's in front and the Envoy's behind.
Yeah.
So talk us through this deployment. What was your plan here?
Well, still messing around with the list a bit, I think. Always a bit worried about splitting forces into two flanks, but I figured that the Gigas and the Coral Giant would make a nice little unit backed up with a Siren. Deployed the Siren opposite the Rangers because that's pretty much the only shooting you had, so trying to turn them off and mess around with them. And then everything else just goes on the other side in one big block. The Knuckers trying to face off against your fast stuff as well and try and disrupt them a bit. And Ector sitting there waiting to get teleported.
Yeah, seems solid. So I hadn't come across a teleport thing before, and that was quite, not to ruin the surprise, but that was quite a surprise when it actually happened. My plan here was to really, I needed to control your Knuckers, because in terms of the scenario, they're the stuff I'm worried about. The other stuff can't move, but those Knuckers can go and could potentially win the game for you at the end. So I really wanted to kind of try to control them, and that's why I put the Brock Riders. I can't remember who put the first, but I think I probably put mine down.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah,
because you've got way more drops than me. Okay, so vanguarding. Obviously, I moved up the Rangers, and Honeus, I put him in front. Pretty standard, really, just to get them within range of shooting. And then we rolled for turn 1, and I believe I won. Yeah, so it was Dwarfs turn 1, and so we cracked on. So the Iron Guard and the Earth Elementals just moved up, and the Stone Priest moved up behind them to offer some support. And the two units of Brock Riders moved as well. And then the King, I zapped up right behind the hill, so he was out of sight of everyone, and just an annoying threat by sitting there. And I think that was my turn. Well, that's right. And then this is where we all ended up. And then I shot at the Coral Giant with everything I had.
Yeah, that was
6 damage.
A bit of a mistake there. I should have not put him in the woods.
Yeah, having it behind the woods would have been
probably a better idea.
Because I would have shot some Gigas and done less damage, frankly, because defense 6 is a pain in the ass. There you go, live and learn. So 6 damage on the Giant to start with was pretty good. I was quite impressed with that. So on to... oh, look, I put fish. How insulting.
Oh, very good.
So trying around turn 1. And so these guys all moved up, as did these guys. And then you moved your envoy up behind the hill, similar to the King, basically, so nobody could see him. And then moved the Knucker and the Knucker and the Tidal Swarm up. So the Knucker's there behind the Tidal Swarm to threaten the King, I assume.
Well, that, and to see if there's anything going to appear on the left-hand side a bit. See if the Earth Elementals are going to leave a flank open, maybe, or see what the Brock Riders are up to.
Right, which is perfectly sensible. And then your first action was to teleport Ector right in front of the Brock Riders. I think it was the Brock Riders with what's it called? Brew of Sharpness. So right in front of the Sharpness Brock Riders.
And then wind blasted the ones on the right hand side of back a bit, I think.
Which is why they there you go. Look at that. And shove them back a couple of inches. Incredibly irritating character, Ector. You know, my hatred for him has only grown over the weeks that we've played. And I think because he's got phalanx as well, hasn't he? So he
strips you thunderous.
Nasty. Okay, and then that's the Siren onto the right-hand Rangers, disordering them.
Yes, stop them shooting.
Unpleasant. Right, so onto Dwarfs turn 2. So I moved up the Iron Guard and the Earth Elementals, just wiggled the Stone Piece around a bit, and then the King and the Brocks just tried to have a go at Ector. I thought, might as well, let's just crack on. He's a roadblock that needs removing, and this is where we ended up. Okay, the only thing to say is to say thanks for joining me on the battle report, Matt. Any final thoughts?
No, I think it was good fun. I'm liking playing a bit of Universal Battle because I don't get to play that many games in person. I know it's not the same as playing with toy soldiers, but it's still a good laugh, and I enjoy trying to learn how to use various bits and pieces and make small lists like 1700.
Yeah, I think I think I cannot speak highly enough of Universal Battle for practice, because same as you, I don't get to play very often, but this way I get to actually practice and not, I get to make the mistakes where it doesn't matter as opposed to in a tournament, which I think is really valuable. Cool. So thanks very much, and I hope you all join us again on Death by Dragons. Thanks very much.